What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to talk about some very key levels to watch for as the market is progressing and why on earth the market is showing some strength right now. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000 more, you're guaranteed at 30. And the offer ends very soon at the end of March. Anyways, as far as the market is going, we're showing some strength right now as we're trying to hold some key supports, but simultaneously the market's in a range, so it's just trading sideways in that range. So I'll break down what this means for the future. Just know that for today, we just have a couple of bill auctions. We have our 3 and 6 month bill auction coming out. Then we have more coming out at 1 p.m. So make sure you watch for all of this at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, in just a couple of minutes from the time I'm recording this. There are going to be some more bill auctions, so just keep that in mind. Anyways, so as far as SPY is going, we're riding our 20 EMA very nicely. So as long as we're above 599.6, we're favoring that we want to push higher. If we end up closing below this, or if we don't hold 599.6, there's going to be a risk of us dipping to about 597 to fill that gap down below. We saw SPY touch those levels, but then buyers are defending it so far, and it's doing a good job. But what's very interesting is that for the most part, what's happening, SPY is just very choppy in that 600 area, going back and forth between these levels, not really doing much. So just be careful for trading options because of how this is going to be affecting our thetas and also the other things that determine our values. So just keep that in mind. As time goes on, though, this is looking a little bit more bullish. If we can maintain 600, I think that we could try to pump more for 602 than 605. If we can't hold 600, there's going to be a dip lower. And as of right now, we're favoring. We want to go a little higher. So SPY is still favoring upside for now, as long as 600 holds. Now, the QQQ is in a different boat. Now, I was hoping we would see this thing pump to about 527. There is potential for it to try to make those highs because of this inverse head and shoulders. That's assuming that the full measured move is not done yet, right? Because we still have this setup. But here's the thing. If we were to hypothetically lose 520, this will be dipping back down towards, I'd say, closer to 516. As long as we're above 520, we could attempt to push for about 527. So we'll be watching to see, does this inverse head and shoulders hold, or do we end up losing this on the QQQ? I'll be watching that very closely. I think that there is potential for us to try to rebound a bit. But the problem we're seeing with the QQQ is the fact that not all of tech is like pushing. We're seeing, like, for example, Nvidia is trading sideways. Then you have Apple that's selling off because of some bad news that came out. I think that's what's really slowing this down. So for now, we're just shuffling between these key levels. If I go to, for example, our 30 minutes time frame on the QQQ, we're just shuffling between these two levels. For the past almost 2 hours, we were stuck between 523 and 521. So I think we continue to shuffle as the day goes on. I would love to see us eventually hold 520 and try to bounce, but for now we're just shuffling, so just keep that in mind. Until we break past this resistance right here at 523, we're just completely range bound. For the Russell 2000, we're showing a lot more strength. We're looking for 229 as resistance, then 230. This has the potential to go higher as long as we don't end up losing our key supports, especially at the 200 EMA at 226. So we're favoring 230 as a potential target. I think we're doing a good job. For others out there, we have ES, which looks a bit more bullish as long as we don't lose 6,000 flats, 6,023. We're favoring, we want to go up to about 6,080 or above. On NQ, we're looking a little bit more bullish, but that's under the assumption we hold at 21,525. If we end up losing that support, there's going to be a risk of us kind of like making a U-turn, so just keep that in mind. So I'll be watching those very key levels just to see how this ends up developing. But I do like the setup. We have a very nice looking inverse head and shoulders. We are trying to hold up for now. The market is very choppy, though, so simultaneously you want to be a little bit careful with it because there's not as much volume coming in. And despite the fact that we started off with higher volatility in the daytime, it is slowing down right now. So I would just recommend being a little bit careful because of that. Not financial advice when I say that. I would just say that I'm very cautiously optimistic. If anything, I'm still optimistic for the market, but I'm also very cautious because of some nuances in our data. But anyways, I think that NQ is doing a good job as long as we don't lose 21,525. We do favor upside a little bit more. So I'll be watching to see if that holds. Bitcoin's looking a bit more bullish. As long as we don't lose 103,000, we could be trying to push for 107,000. So I think there's potential to try to get a little bit higher. For NQ, that was doing quite well. For Nvidia, excuse me, I think we're looking a little bit better. So we pushed to 140 as predicted, but we were not able to break it. That's the problem with Nvidia. If we break 140, we're looking for 144 as our potential target. But as of right now, we're just range bound between 137 and 140. That's going to be our 50 and 200 EMA down here, and 140 is resistance. So we're just going back and forth for now. Until we break one of these levels, we're just completely stuck. If we lose to 137s, 135 is coming. If we break 140, I think we could be pushing closer to 144. Otherwise, we're just range bound. Tesla was showing weakness because of some new news that came out involving an executive order from the new president. Don't want to get into the full details about this. Obviously, the EV mandates are going to be shifted a lot under this next presidency. So this wasn't the best of news. And this is also kind of like a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I want to see Tesla hold this support to continue this uptrend. Because we lost the support at 426, we ended up coming back down. My target was like 418 if that failed us, but we actually went below that. So now this trend line right here, this blue trend line, you guys see this line, that was holding us up since October. That's the October support. It's still holding Tesla up or barely holding it. So that's going to be a very critical level. If Tesla loses around this 410 area, we're looking for a continuation lower to like 402 and even like the 390s. If we could hold 410, there's going to be an attempt to rebound for 420 that could be coming. So we'll see if we could try to hold these levels or not. We're looking at 416.8 as resistance. If that breaks, we're looking for 420. So there's potential in the chart, but make sure you watch your support just to be safe. Apple may dump close to 218. It's just looking bearish right now. We had some bad news, which I talked about in the morning. We got a downgrade from JP Morgan. They used to have a 265 price target. Now it's 260. And then on top of that, we saw their sales decline in China. It's not the best of news for them. For Coinbase, we saw a lot of volatility. We pushed to 300, dumped to about the 275 area, then bounced again. So we're just trading sideways. May attempt to get closer to 300 again, but it's just consolidating right now. So it's going to likely consolidate a bit. Excuse me. It's going to consolidate a bit before it tries to bounce. Amazon's looking a bit more bullish. Have a nice double bottom right here. We were fighting and struggling to break past 230. We have support at 220 and resistance at 230. We're just range bound. If we break 230, we're going to pump even more. Otherwise, we're just in this range. For Meta, we're also range bound. We're just shuffling very, very closely. If we could try to hold above 608, we're looking for a bounce for 625. If we lose 608, we could be dipping for the much lower levels like 600. I'm hoping that this inverse shoulders holds, and as long as we're above 608, this could try to bounce there into the 625 area. We'll see if 608 holds, though, just to be safe. For Microsoft, we're looking for 428 as our support and then 425. As long as those supports hold, we could try to bounce for 430. I think that we're also range bound on this, so just be very patient. Google's also looking decent. It pumped very nicely to 204 only to reject. We need to try to hold above 200. If not, we could be dipping back down to 197. So just be a little bit careful with this. But it's not looking too bad. It's still technically in a range. So that being said, the market is doing a good job at holding up. SPY is trying to hold above 600. We could break out higher as long as that holds, but we'll see just to be safe. With that being said, have a good day, guys. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for another update. And peace out.